Do you know any young men aged 25? That's how old Captain Moroni was when he was made chief captain over all the Nephite armies. In Alma chapter 48, verse 17, we read, "Yea, verily, verily, I say unto you, if all men had been, and were, and ever would be like unto Moroni, behold, the very powers of hell would have been shaken forever. Yea, the devil would never have power over the hearts of the children of men." That's how impressed Mormon was when he was abridging these records. And I believe so much so that he named his own son after him. Backing up in chapter 48 of Alma, we read in verses 11 through 13, "And Moroni was a strong and a mighty man. He was a man of a perfect understanding, yea, a man that did not delight in bloodshed, a man whose soul did joy in the liberty and the freedom of his country, and his brethren from bondage and slavery. Yea, a man whose heart did swell with thanksgiving to his God for the many privileges and blessings which he bestowed upon his people, a man who did labor exceedingly for the welfare and safety of his people. He was a man who was firm in the faith of Christ, and he had sworn with an oath to defend his people, his rights, and his country, and his religion, even to the loss of his blood." Unfortunately, nowadays, most soldiers who join the armed forces in whatever country end up fighting bankers' wars or unconstitutional wars. But that's just how corrupt all governments have become, how despotic leaders have become. But anyway, Captain Moroni, he had proven himself a faithful chief captain and a defender of his people and also liberty. Furthermore, he spared his enemies when they covenanted to depart in peace or to maintain the liberty of his people, even after they had shed so much of the blood of his fellow Nephites, even those who had attempted to overthrow the government and to supplant their judges, making themselves rulers. That's downright treason. And Moroni, he had no problem sparing them if they covenanted to depart in peace or to uphold liberty. Captain Moroni didn't desire to battle against the Lamanites either. He didn't want to shed their blood. Continuing in Alma chapter 48, verse 23 and 24, we read, "They were sorry to take up arms against the Lamanites because they did not delight in the shedding of blood. Yea, and this was not all. They were sorry to be the means of sending so many of their brethren out of this world into an eternal world, unprepared to meet their God. Nevertheless, they could not suffer to lay down their lives, that their wives and their children should be massacred by the barbarous cruelty of those who were once their brethren, yea, and had dissented from their church, and had left them, and had gone to destroy them by joining the Lamanites." This is what Moroni was up against, not only from the Lamanites, but also all the dissenting Nephites like Amalickiah, and farther back in the book of Alma, Zarahemna. So, yeah, thereafter the Lamanite armies, they returned and invaded the Nephite lands. But Captain Moroni had fortified his city so well and had prepared his people for the attempted conquest of the Lamanite armies so well that the Lamanites could not prevail whatsoever. But the Nephites had slain all the Lamanite chief captains instead. The Lamanites then returned to their land to report to King Amalickiah, who had not gone out to battle at this time. He had got what he wanted. He was in charge. He could relax back in the Lamanite land with a new queen, a new kingdom. He had it made in the shade. But when he learned of their failures and what happened, he became enraged. To be continued.